Welcome back to Viltrumics. To wrap up this episode, we wanted to discuss in more detail about the brutal execution of the Guardians of the Globe and how well this pilot sets up the series as a whole. Bree, why don't you just take you start?
Just like you said, it sets up the season really well. And like we've said before, it's just such an incredible episode of television. I'm and I like that we start this post-credit scene by seeing the various guardians going about their lives.
Mhm.
For a moment we're like, "Oh, like we're learning more about these characters, like how fun." And then we soon learn that we're not going to learn about these characters anymore. Um,
Yeah. It's just like it's really fun just to give us like here's some of their what they're up to as people.
yeah.
And then they just all die.
Well, and
Um
we meet Red Rush's girlfriend,
Wife.
wife. Yeah, we meet her again in another episode, which is fun. I'm really curious. I noticed it upon this third watch. Nikki is who Martian is hanging out with. So I wonder if
Nikki,
she'll ever, yeah, she's the
the little
character.
girl.
Yeah, that's like drawing
Okay.
for him. So I wonder if she's ever gonna come back. I feel like that would be really interesting. Um, because I feel like they had a really interesting relationship and a really like heartfelt, like innocent relationship. So I wonder if she'll come back.
Yeah, that one's a sad one.
Hmm.
I love that it's just like yeah, it's just his bond with like this young human
Yeah.
and she's like hyping him up and then obviously he never comes back. Um damn. But there's so before we like break into the fight, one thing I just find like fun is it starts with Red Rush and he's on like a picnic with Olga, I think. I think it's his wife.
I think so too.
Um and he hears like some commotion. He leaves. And the villain, I didn't know his name. I had to like look at Amazon Prime's like or whatever, or just like the subtitles. I think that
Oh,
says his
yeah.
the villain's name is Kursk, Kursk. He has like electricity powers, and he comes back in like episode 6 of season 1 when Mark and the new Guardians kind of fight various villains, including Battle Beast, and he's part of that.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh.
and I remember just, and I guess we'll talk about that episode eventually because that's a great one. Uh, he he's pretty like evenly matched with the new Guardians, but Red Rush literally deals with him in a second. And so I think it's just like stuff like that just shows like just how powerful these initial Guardians were,
Yes.
and so like just how much it sucks to just lose them all in just one go. And so he also says that the briefest conversation feels like hours to me. It's agony, which is, it's kind of funny because that's probably what speedsters would that's like would be how they would perceive things. But I guess we'll talk about it in just a second. That also is kind of like this sad, like, oh, that means when he was being killed, it probably took so much longer than we see it or than the Guardians see it.
And we see that playing out in slow motion too. So,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazon has like I was looking at like the trivia that like pops up and they said that it's like that scenes in slow motion and like there's like a wider shot of like you can see the Guardians running
Hmm.
slowly and Red Rush is still like punching faster than like we can punch,
Yeah,
like way
yeah.
faster. Um so he was really moving fast and he just was caught.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we see that before we get into that, we see that like all the guardians have jobs, people they care about. So it makes what we're about to see so much worse.
Yeah. It's really great, just like exposition. It kind of just like almost unnecessary. It only exists to like just kind of
Throw us.
just make it more brutal, yeah.
Mhm.
Or almost like falsely lead us into like, oh, these are characters that are gonna be here for a minute, but they're not.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, yeah, I mean, what we'll just go back to the first time we saw this because I think it's just like it is the show. The show like starts here, you know.
Mhm.
It's like the hook, and it's such a great hook. So what were like how did this scene impact you 3 years ago?
I think I was just like, why? I was having the same reactions as the Guardians were. They were like, why is he doing this? Like, someone must be controlling him. I was just like so shocked by what was happening. I was just confused. And to see like such brutal deaths, I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, I think I was just like, "What is happening?" Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. I definitely, like, I don't think I thought it was Nolan doing that
Oh,
himself.
really?
Like, I definitely thought he was, like, being controlled by something. That just, like, made the most sense to me. So,
Yeah.
I was definitely really confused when it first happened. What about you?
Yeah, that's a good I don't know if I also thought like if I probably thought he was being controlled or like there was some like because obviously, you know, I didn't know about like the whole like Viltrumite storyline and everything they reveal in the rest of the season. Um I don't know. So I think a part of me deep down was like hoping that he was just bad. Like he was just like everything we saw was like there was just more to his character or to like his motives. But I think like it probably just more so left me questioning like, oh, why is he doing this right now? And yeah, I don't know. We'll have to next episode we'll talk more about like kind of the aftermath that we see in episode two. Um, but I just remember like when he's crushing Red Rush's head, like right when he like catches his like punch or something, I had just this gut feeling that what we were gonna see was gonna be just more violent.
Mhm.
And it was really awesome. Like when it happened, like I was like, oh, this just got really good. Um,
Yeah,
really,
that was
yeah, it's gross.
yeah, and just bringing it back to like he was experiencing that every little bit. Like he experienced that in slow motion. But I thought he was a real one for being the first one to kind of attack Omni-Man and
Yeah,
push Immortal out of the way because he sensed that he was coming.
yeah. That's such a great like little detail too that like Nolan targeted like the strongest of the Guardians first, just to try and get him out of the way as quick as possible.
Yeah. Or at least like
Um,
the guardian that would be of most help in a fight like this. Like he could have like moved him around more, but I think, yeah, Nolan thought it out. He took them by surprise, which I think was in it, like ultimately was their
mm,
downfall, was that they were taken by surprise.
yeah. Do you think that I've thought about this scene a lot, like um, since it came out. Uh, but especially as I've seen like the rest of season one and then into season two and just gotten to know Nolan more as a character, um, and like watching it's just so cool that he doesn't speak at all.
Mhm.
And I think like you can kind of tell, at least knowing kind of his character more after this, like that he I feel like by not speaking, he's trying to like he doesn't want any sort of like emotion to like slip in or any like chance of like a conversation or he just wants to do it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.